Welcome to Philstake YouTube channel, the Unfolding the Stock Market Crash. Well, today, the 8th of October, we saw the job numbers get clobbered. Remember, we had 1 million jobs, 352,000 jobs, and here in September we had 195,000 jobs. Why? What happened? Inflation. Now, remember, inflation is the greatest threat to our economy and our stock market. That's backed by 131 years where all the presidents during the 131 years agreed that the greatest threat to our system of government is inflation. But who changed that? Biden, AOC. They changed all that. They said, oh, no. The environment. The environment. That is our number one priority. That's the greatest threat to our system of government, not inflation. What are they, nuts? Now, if you remember, the reason why they had only 195,000 jobs instead of the 500,000 jobs, because inflation keeps moving prices up. Gasoline, food. The vendors, the stores, the merchants try to absorb as much as they can. That's tough. That's really tough to do. So, when all of these folks got cut that extra $300, remember, they're getting that extra $300 a week for $600 a week, and everybody said, well, when that's gone, they're all going to run back to work. I said, well, they're not going to get hired. Remember I said that a couple of weeks ago? I said, they're not going to get hired. I said, it's going to be brutal. Everybody's thinking that these people are going to, the 20 million people that lost their jobs, all 20 million will be back to work. No, 5 million aren't back to work. And the proof came today when we dropped from the 500,000 down to 195. And the reason is because people aren't hiring them. Small business can't hire them because wages because they can't pay the wages. They can't, and they're getting killed with inflation. The vendors are getting killed. And who's causing this? Biden is. See, deficits are linked to inflation. And when you keep spending on these stupid programs, these green programs, and you're spending more money, $6 trillion, than you take in, which is $3 trillion, that is not only irresponsible by Congress and Biden, it's just totally stupid, because they know that deficits are linked to inflation, and they know that inflation is the greatest threat to our economic system, which is the greatest threat to our stock market. And here's the proof. If you remember this week, let's take the tech stocks. The tech stocks have been leading this market going all the way back to 2007, 2008, 2013. And if you remember, when we had the crash from February 2020 down to March of 2020, remember what led this market up 131 points? Tech stocks. But remember, tech stocks, the last thing they want is inflation. Because tech stocks, when you have inflation, that means yields are going up. And when yields go up, the poor tech stocks get clobbered. And that's what's happening. So if you look back here on the Qs, these leaders are getting clobbered. Even this week, it was crazy. They're being told by the fake Business News Network, like Varney, buy on the pullback, buy on the dip. No, you never buy on a dip when the trend is going down. That means your trend's broken. So anybody who bought on the dip and maybe went up for 1 or 2 days, that's it. It's over. May go up a little bit longer, but it'll never make new highs here. It's going to be very difficult. It's the same thing with our second leader, is the banks. Now, the banks love high yields. But wait a minute. They were underperforming. What do I mean? By today, we should have seen this. That's what should have happened, because the yields are 160 basis points, or 1.6%. Look at it. They're underperforming. So we got the banks underperforming. Why? Because the investors don't want to be in banks because they know one thing. When you have inflation and prices are going up, our wages aren't going up. And the banks are worried about defaults. People have to pay more money for stuff, but they have less value. Their dollar's getting killed. The value of the dollar is going down. So investors are very worried about the leadership, banks. And with yields being so high, the other leaders, there's only 2 leaders in the market: financials, the banks, and big tech. Big tech is getting clobbered by high yields, and the banks should be performing, and they're not. So it's very important. I mean, this is where you're getting really close now, okay? Really close. And so it's important that you understand, until this market crashes, what groups you should be in, what stocks you should be in. That's what we do with our members. But you better be prepared for a big crash. May happen next week, maybe a year from now. We don't know. But be prepared for that crash. But boy, when you see, we're getting so close right now, because number one, see this little line right here, this yellow line, this little yellow line? That's the 50-day moving average. And we have 50% of our stocks below the 50-day moving average. We have 30% below the 200-day moving average. Combine that with the inflation and high yields, that means our Qs aren't, the big tech isn't performing. And when you have the big tech stocks aren't performing because the yields are bad for them, and we have the banks, which the big yields are good for them, aren't performing, then there is a real problem when you have half of your stocks underneath the 50-day moving average. So my suggestion is, why don't you learn how to short, prepare yourself for what's coming? I can't give you the exact date, but I can tell you it's coming. Go to my site, philsgang.com. Sign up. It's free for 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, you make your own decision. But my God, you got to learn how to protect yourself. That's how you protect yourself. There's no place to run. What are you going to do, buy Coca-Cola and Clorox? Oh, that's what they'll tell you, Varney and the rest of them. No. You want to sell short. That's it. So, again, this was a big week. High inflation killed our job market. High inflation killing our big leader, tech. High inflation. The banks aren't performing. Both leaders of this market are falling apart. Do me a favor, subscribe, like, and would you share this with somebody? I'll see you on the charts. Learn how to sell a stock short. Join my gang, free for 10 days. See you on the charts.